Welcome back. So, more scandals at the embattled road accident fund. This is as News 24 reports how a multi-million rand IT contract became a feeding trough. The publication says suspended CEO Letsoalo was at the center of the contract, which was allegedly used to open doors for irregular tenders. Now, we get reaction now from OUTA CEO Wayne Duvenage, who joins us for more. Wayne, a good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, here we are again, the Road Accident Fund taking center stage with massive allegations of corruption. Here we're talking about a 14 million rand IT contract that is reported to have been a feeding trough, and the former CEO, then CEO rather, let's say that, Letsoalo, at the center of this. I don't know what your initial reactions are. Is there a sense that we were going to get these sort of reports at some point?
Yeah, absolutely. We're not surprised. I think, Letsoalo's tenure at RAF and in other areas before he even came into the Road Accident Fund has been marred with controversy. And at RAF, there's a number of issues, and I think they're going to see more and more coming out as people dig and as new leadership takes hold in the RAF and starts to look at what happened in the past during his tenure. But there was almost an 80 million rand office lease deal that has been questioned. The SIU been involved in looking into that. There was a cleaning contract and an office furniture contract. And so here we have in 2021, an organization, Mitigate, was given a contract to look into a cyber security breach. Oh. And within days of that, there was almost a repetition of that be given to another organization called Redem, where there seems to be some connection between Letsoalo and Redem. And it seems like that work wasn't even done. And if it was grossly overpriced, started out at 4 or 5 million rand and increased by another 9 million. So lots of questions being asked around this contract now.
Yeah, I think it's also quite odd that you've got, for instance, this is a cyber security contract. For an organization like the Road Accident Fund, you'd expect that money would actually go to good use, considering the importance of cyber security at a structure like RAF.
Yeah, I mean, your cybersecurity in any government organization, especially one like this, needs to be robust. They need to have penetration tests done regularly. It would seem that wasn't the case, and once a breach of their cyber or their security had been recognized, they decided to quickly try and do something about it. So you're quite right. I mean, this is a reactive process. But the costs, 14 million rand, and that was just to the one company. It really, the mind boggles. It shouldn't be that amount.
Yeah, and then you've got News 24 also reporting that Redem has taken RAF to court demanding that 9.1 million rand in outstanding invoices, so possibly even more costs going forward. But I also want to just get your thoughts on what you make about how they're reporting that Letsoalo had allocated himself bodyguards, 6 of them, and their overtime claims cost RAF quite a bit, swallowing their wage bill.
Yeah, absolutely. Over a 4 to 5 year period, 20 million rand is the cost that has been put to Letsoalo's security. Now, this is extremely excessive. And again, as I said, I think the more the forensics investigations can dig into the conduct during Letsoalo's tenure, I think you're going to find more of this overreach, overspending, unnecessary spending. There have been a number of contracts, as I said, related to him. And, his time couldn't have come to an end early enough. I think they removed him a few months prior to the end of his contract. But there was always a lot of smoke around Letsoalo's time at the Road Accident Fund, where claims decreased significantly. I think the public, for whom the Road Accident Fund is there to benefit those who have suffered injuries from road accidents, got the raw end of the stick and a gross over expenditure for many years. Yeah.
You've got, of course, Songezo Zibi of Scopa, who's come out and said, 4 years ago, RAF was able to finalize 250,000 claims per year. By 2024, they only finalized 63,000. And he says, Songezo Zibi saying that Letsoalo has left a broken entity in the road accident fund.
Absolutely, and if we go back long before his time, the road accident fund got about 5 to 6 billion rand a year. I'm going back as far as 2007. It would wash its face back then. Today, nearly 50 billion rand a year, and it's in a gross hole. They just cannot settle their claims. This is a grossly inefficient organization. Collins Letsoalo went in there claiming he would clean it up, and it got worse during his tenure. As you say, Scopa can show that the number of claims that it entertained per annum was dropped by down to 20% of what it used to be able to do in the past. So it is a failed organization. It is broken, and it needs a lot of work to clean it up and fix it up. It can be done, but it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
But a lot of money has been wasted in the past 5 to 7 years.
I always argue that when we say things can be done, the toughest question actually to answer is how, right? And I'm going to throw that at you. How is it that we go about turning things around at RAF moving forward?
This is an organization like any take an insurance company. It needs really robust systems. This is an entity that pays out claims like insurance companies do. It needs to ensure that it can verify all the claims. It needs to have good legal processes. It needs to use AI. And I think if you get the right people in and the right systems, you can fix it. But there's a backlog that's going to have to be cleared now. And so I think anything, like Joburg, the city of Joburg is broken. It's going to take some time for any of these organizations that have been mismanaged and maladministered for many years to be fixed. But it's going to take the political will. It's going to take systems, going to take some funds, but I believe anything can be fixed if it's well managed.
Yeah, let's go back to this issue of the cybersecurity matter, because I almost think back to SASSA and how at some point we were shocked as a country when 2 first-year students were able to pick up that at SASSA online cybersecurity or online fraud was taking place at a mass scale, right? And yet you've got all this money that is dedicated to cybersecurity, and yet we can't get it right. What is that? Is that a skills issue? And maybe we need to talk about how we go about vetting cybersecurity service providers moving forward, because this is incredibly important and costs us so much.
Yeah, I think like any organization, you need good systems, you need robust systems. They need to have penetration testing. But this comes down to the right people appointed and the skills. It is a skills thing. We've seen throughout government a lot of failures as a result of people who do not have the right qualifications heading up various departments. And I think if you get the right skills in and you got the right systems in, we can get on top of these challenges. But as I said, it's not going to be easy. It's not an overnight process. But until if you've got to stop the cadre deployment. And you've got to do this properly, otherwise you're going to have problems. And we've seen far too often in government departments where the wrong people have been put into positions, underqualified, unskilled, and I'm not surprised. We saw this at SARS, we've seen it at Transnet, PRASA, the list goes on.
Yeah. Well, Wayne, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Always a pleasure, of course. Wayne Duvenage is the CEO of the organization Undoing Tax Abuse. So responding to that report by News 24 that the road accident fund's 14 million rand IT contract really was one that became a feeding trough. But we'll continue following up on that story as well.